I'm Paula Williams, an aviation marketing consultant with ABCI, and you are watching or listening to Contrails and Cocktails. Of course, whenever you get two or more smart aviation people in a room, the stories are going to start flying. And when you start mixing cocktails, things start to get really fun. Our guest today is Jeffrey Carrithers, and he is the president and CEO of GlobalAir. GlobalAir started in 1995. It's one of the oldest aviation websites on the internet, developed into an aviation portal site that provides aircraft for sale, airport, FBO, fuel prices, aviation buyer's guides, aviation events, aviation news and articles, and so on. Jeff Carrithers is an expert on jet and turbine markets as well, so we're really happy to have him here today. Mark Parry is the president and founder of Global Aircraft Group. Global Aircraft Group sponsors this podcast, and Mark Parry has over 30 years of experience in corporate aviation, a diverse roster of clients, an unparalleled access to professional resources, and he's a senior certified aircraft appraiser and a member of the Professional Aircraft Appraisers Organization, PAAO. And he's also a licensed airframe and power plant mechanic. And he went to law school at Andover. So since Jeff is from Kentucky and Mark likes bourbon, and it's just about the time of year for the world's most famous horse race, at the time of this recording, you can probably guess what cocktail we're going to be talking about today. So let's dive in.
Hi, so Mark, Global Aircraft Group, and I'd like to welcome Jeff to our podcast, Contrails and Cocktails. And to remind everybody on YouTube to like and subscribe. There will also be a giveaway end of the season, some aviation art, and also to watch to the end for our signature drink that has something to do with Kentucky and the hats that we sometimes wear back in the 1880s.
Fantastic. All right. So, the neat thing that I know about both of you guys is that you're very involved in you've been involved in the aviation industry for a really long time. And Jeff, you had a story that you shared with me the other day. Everybody's got a horror story, I think. Something that
I can't say that it was a horror story, but it was probably one of the most fun stories in my corporate career in aircraft sales 30 years ago. I happened to, my first NBAA, I was designated to go to dinner with one of the lead salesmen of the company. And right before dinner, he had to make an emergency stage left. The dinner happened to be with the vice president of JCPenney and the flight department of JCPenney, the lead mechanic and the lead chief pilot. So the lead salesman was, well, you have to go on to go to dinner and seat everybody. Being in my 20s and never gone to a corporate dinner in my life, I was sure I'm up to the task.
A little nervous, right?
Just a little bit nervous, but, walked in, had the reservations, everybody met, we all got to the table, and I managed to do, just an easy placement for everybody to sit. I made sure that the salesman was next to the vice president, and we had a wonderful deal. It was all going down for a Hawker 800. This lead salesman had basically gotten the deal already composed and completed. So we were kind of a celebratory dinner.
Nice.
Had a wonderful dinner that night. But what made it really fun was at the very end of the dinner. Being a young man from Kentucky, you're used to drinking I'll say bourbon out of shot glasses. And that's basically what I've been raised with. We talked about the menu, about what kind of after drinks to have. I had never had port before, and both the lead salesman and the vice president were, they were sophisticated. They understood this. So they ordered, we want some port. I'm up for new things. Okay, I'll try some. Well, come to find out, this was $100 glass port. They brought it to the table, and they were very courteous, and they took little sips. And me being a Kentucky country boy, I was doing more like gulps. And,
it looks like a shot,
Yeah, pretty much in a shot glass. So I made haste and drank it very quickly. And both of them were looking at each other and started smiling. And by the time they sipped their drinks, the conversation came up to, well, should we have another one for the evening? Being a youngster, I wasn't going to pass away free booze.
Of course not.
The next thing you know, they had another glass of port. I believe it was Taylor, as a matter of fact, was the type. Very good vintage. And by the time I finished that glass of port, I had the vice president of JCPenney laughing to the gills. He had to help me walk out the restaurant door. He and the salesman had me by the elbows, walking me out the door. And they got the biggest kick out of that at my expense and my being very naive. But that was my very first corporate dinner that worked out extremely well. That was the joke of the trading floor for about a year.
Little did you know you were the evening's entertainment.
Exactly.
Well, we've all been there, right? I think everybody in their 20s has a story about something like that, right?
Absolutely. It was a good time by all.
And they still made the sale, right?
Yes, sir.
That's fantastic.
It was a Hawker 800A.
So you did your part. You took one for the team.
And I did it very well.
And you did it very well. That's fantastic. It's funny. I mean, we all have, I think, especially as youngsters, we have a lot of latitude in terms of making mistakes and things like that. Speaking of such things, I guess you guys have both heard about the YouTuber. And I'm not sure how young he is, but
must be talking about Trevor Jacobs.
There you go. Exactly. Who made an interesting exit from an aircraft and did not do a reentry, did not attempt a reentry, but allowed the aircraft, I think, to crash into the side of a hill. What I heard recently was that the FAA had taken action against his license, and that's probably a good thing. I mean, we all need a little bit of latitude when we're young, but I think he's used up all the latitude he had and then some, right?
That was the number one read story in our news site of globalair.com for 3 days.
Goodness.
Number one read story, number one page on globalair.com. So yeah, a lot of people wanted to know about him.
Right.
I feel that he was took advantage of everything, and the FAA should have come down on him. That's just my own personal opinion. And I can understand why the FAA did it, because if you don't do something, then you're going to have all kinds of people trying to do those kind of stunts. Yeah. It's like the Red Bull team ended up crashing one because they want to be doing stunts to get publicity.
Right. I think, on one side, you've got, you want to give people some latitude and, allow them to make mistakes and everything like that. This is way beyond the realm of mistakes. This is an attempt to get publicity, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I watched the whole I went on YouTube, watched the whole video of it, and when he declared his emergency, the engine was off, the propeller was horizontal, and then after he jumped out, he had video cameras on the airplane, and all the way down the propeller was turning. So evidently the engine was, he shut it off to declare his emergency. Then he must have had to have it running when he, to keep it straight and level when he jumped out. That's my guess, and I'm sure they picked up on that. The engine was definitely running on the video, so he gave his whole thing away. So.
Yeah, Monday morning quarterbacking. But the thing is, if you're going to put video on YouTube, you give everybody the opportunity to see every step of the way. And, it's kind of like handing I'm just really happy there wasn't video when I was younger because my incidents that were the incidents that I have had when learning to fly and incidents that I've had and other things, I'm just glad there's no record of some of them. So that's probably.
Well, I would absolutely agree.
Right.
I forgot to mention that we're dedicating each episode, first the last 4 episodes to one of the airlines. We did Pan Am, TWA, and then today is American Airlines. Everybody can see that vintage suitcase sticker.
Yeah.
GlobalAir.
They started in 1930, and they actually, ironically, bought out TWA. Then they merged. Not merged. There was a lot of mergers of it over the years, but what I thought was interesting, they got their big start with the DC-3.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then they bought out Howard Hughes and TWA eventually. And then their recent, they're like the largest airline in the world right now. They 2013 was US Air. So anyway, just want to make sure we fit that in real quick.
Fantastic.
The port wine, I found out about that also. My cousin was like, "Oh, you got to come up and try some of this port." He was up in Boston. So I was up visiting, and he puts it in the freezer. Just freezes, it won't freeze.
Of course not, right? It's very high alcohol.
I didn't know that. I thought it was, similar to a wine. So you freeze it, and then with a slice of orange, and it was really good that way. But I've had Kentucky bourbon and Scotch, and I had just like Jeff's talking about, not a lot. And you got to be careful with that stuff.
Yeah, it's even worse if it tastes good, because then it goes down real smooth.
Right. Well put, Paula. That's exactly the problem.
Right. All right. Well, speaking of American Airlines, DC-3s and so on, if we fast forward to today, we have a very different aircraft market. And there's a lot going on in the jet and turbine markets. I think we have unprecedented, I hate to use that word because everybody uses that word so much, unprecedentedly low inventory on everything. Is that what you're seeing, Jeff?
The market right now is, how can you say that we're having a small rebound when we're still so low? We're going from in 2020, let's say, when COVID first started, we were probably at a regular norm of about 7,000 airplanes, we'll say, of the corporate fleet.
Yeah.
Today, I believe, just today, we're up to 1,500. So in the past 6 months, we've really been down less than 500 aircraft that are really for sale. I mean, there's a lot of aircraft that could be advertised, but they're either sold or a deal pendings, and are being left out on the internet, which is something, by the way, you won't find on globalair.com. There's only airplanes for sale on our site, not something that's been languishing for some time on the website.
Oh, that's good. So you don't leave them up with a sold sign on like a lot of the other sites do, where they're just there for.
No, that's why we always have smaller inventories, but it's more like what the market really is. Mm-hmm. But it is amazing to think that we're actually starting a small rebound, and 1,500 aircraft people are actually being happy about. The market has been as such that the sellers have really taken advantage of the situation, which we're in a capitalist country. That's bound to happen, but they have really taken it over the edge, going sometimes 20-30% points up the normal value of an aircraft. And when you're talking a $50 million G550, a pre-owned G550, then something that should be in the 50s is up around 55, 60.
Yeah.
So the sellers are doing quite well. It does look like it has peaked. I don't want to be too bold, but it does look like it has peaked somewhat. There's more inventory coming on the website every day. So it shows us that the buyers have actually kind of, let's take a pause on this and look at it a little bit later.
Yeah.
So that slows things down. So then, instead of the way it's been, as soon as an aircraft hits the market, it's sold. Now we're having, 1, 2, 3, then one sold. 1, 2, then one sold. So, we're able to start collecting up a little bit of inventory. So it does look positive as far as that side of it. And hopefully that will kind of top the arc at the pricing index.
Right. Well, and I know, in most cases, people do complex transactions where they are selling one and buying one at the same time. So they get hit with the good and the bad side of the market at the same time. And that makes for interesting times.
I talk to brokers, every day, and one of their biggest comments is, yes, I have my seller wishes to sell his aircraft, but then I have to go out and find him an aircraft and trying to explain to him that what he's doing to his buyer is exactly what's going to happen to him when he turns into a buyer. So yes, he might make a little money on his transaction, but he's going to turn it right back over to the next seller. Yeah,
be on the other side of the teeth.
That's when a well-seasoned flight department with a flight department manager that has been in the industry for a while. They're working with a very experienced brokerage firm who understands the markets. That's when they work together as a team, and that's how they get the best advantage to their dollar.
Yeah, right. So, Mark, what are you seeing in the market? I guess at least in the last little bit, you're probably seeing some changes.
Yeah, well, thanks to ABCI, I just got a call from a hedge fund manager, and he's buying an aircraft from the military at West Point, New York. So it's a small aircraft, but nonetheless. And then so I'm going out there next Tuesday to go look at that aircraft. And they're also looking for a pilot. They do a lot of it's a lot of property, commercial property stuff, I guess. So they're going to be looking for an airplane to fly their pilots, their lawyers to the closings. So anyway, I'm hoping, I'm really looking forward to seeing where all that leads.
Excellent.
I have a broker that'll help you with that.
Yeah. Well, when we get to he said he's he needs a pilot, and then they're not aviation people, so he doesn't really. I'm trying to help them figure out what they actually would need versus how much they're paying to fly attorneys to sit around overnight or stuck here and there.
Yeah.
The airlines versus maybe if they had a Pilotus or a King Air.
Yeah.
Well, you know how much they charge an hour, so.
Yes, I do too. That's a lot. So they might be able to get quite a bit of airtime with versus that. So we'll see.
Yeah. Great. So I think a lot of people listening may not be terribly familiar with GlobalAir. Jeff, maybe you can tell us more about how the company came about and how you put that together and how that's working now and what you see.
Well, how the company came about is probably going to be almost as comical as my first story.
Comical is good.
I was working for a brokerage firm out of Virginia, and my boss fired me.
Oh, the nerve.
So I moved Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky, so I moved back to Kentucky. A friend of mine showed me the internet, and just about the same time, Al Gore came out and said that he invented the internet.
Of course.
So I've been using that tagline for years. Al Gore and I invented the internet. But I immediately saw that the internet was perfect for aviation because most pilots are information junkies, especially regarding aircraft.
Yeah.
So it was a natural fit to start building, a web for information of aviation, and we've now grown it to approximately 329,000 unique visitors per month. So we're one of the larger websites on the internet. We developed our company using real, true web tactics. We don't have a print publication, so we don't have that overhead, nor do we have that. I don't know the right word to use for print anymore, except people don't use it. We built it through the web using web techniques, and that is used or basically built on links. So we decided to, instead of staying focused on one area, we wanted to open up a portal. You remember you hearing that several years ago. Well, that's what we really are. We're a hub and spoke portal to where we have different types of information all pertaining to the aviation. Our biggest is aircraft for sale. And we have our Airport Resource Center, which has all the United States and territories airport information, and the 3,200 FBOs as of yesterday were reporting fuel to us, which we have a few clients, EFBs, that use our fuel data. Then we have our buyer's guide, the calendar, aviation events calendar, and last we've just added on news and articles, which has really taken off well. So we've really built the website out to be exactly what the web is supposed to be. Using the many thousands of links, we have over 300,000 links on the internet, which by far is larger than any other aviation web company out there.
Yeah.
So that's how we built it. We started in 1995, and here we are today in 2022. I've bypassed the dot-com bust, the depression, and now who knows what this COVID next is.
Right. I'm sure there will be a word for it, whatever it is.
Bet on it.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. I think,
Thank you.
Yeah, 1995. That was, that was even before the whole 2000 thing where everybody's computer was going to break because of the zero, the extra zero. So you've been through a lot. Yeah, Y2K. That is crazy, but it's also a really cool legacy to have, where you kind of built a sub internet of or a sub city, maybe, of an entire city about aviation, where you've got stores and
That's a
news
that's a
outfits.
that's a very good analogy. A lot of times, what I use is you look at a spider's web,
Mhm.
and how that is developed, and really that, just like a city with its street circuits, that's exactly what the web is.
Mhm.
Just linking to other pages internally to external,
Mhm.
and people linking back to you.
Mhm. Well, I have to tell you, when we started, and that was actually in closer to 2000, doing digital marketing in the aviation industry, nobody knew what we were talking about. It was really, really tough, because everybody was so intent on what they had always done, which was magazines and trade shows. And so you had a lot of foresight to get into the internet so early and to stick to your guns that long.
I remember one of my first things. What we did when I first started GlobalAir.com is I had the buyer's guide, the directory.
Mm-hmm.
But on the side, to make money, I was building websites for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my very first website was with Curtis Horn of CAH Aircraft.
Okay.
And Curtis is still one of my customers to this day, and still a very good friend. He was one of the first guys I did an airplane deal with.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it was all through word of mouth, and that's how I built a business.
That's great. Yeah, and Mark, I know you've been around for a long time as well.
Yeah.
Yep. I started the appraisals side of my business in 2013 with the NAA, and then I went to law school for a while, and then I added an expert witness, and then pre-buy inspection. I did a lot of pre-buy inspections when I was at Bombardier on Challengers, and a lot of guys didn't like doing them, but I didn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then most recently, the organization of flying adjusters for the insurance claims. So covering quite a bit of territory with those support services, hopefully. And
I'm really envious of what you do. To do an appraisal of an aircraft just takes so much time and detail work. To go out and look at the values and find your comps to make comparisons with. I just don't know if I would have that kind of patience.
Well, I turned wrenches, and I've done a lot of different things, and this is kind of a culmination of everything that I've done, and I really enjoy it. I like to do the trial. I've done trials. I like prepping for the trial. I didn't necessarily, I was on a stand for 4 hours in an actual trial. That was not fun. That I did not enjoy, but I did enjoy getting paid for it. So
nice.
So yeah, and then with insurance stuff, I'm really looking forward to. So
fun. I guess as an expert witness, you don't get to call a recess when you want to.
No, you don't.
You just have to keep going.
Unless you fall up, pass out, or something.
Just soldier through it, right?
Woo, yeah.
I don't know if I could have another lawyer aiming at me. Arrows.
Right. Well, you know who tells the best lawyer jokes is the lawyers. They are actually kind of fun people, some of them. But yeah. So speaking of drinking, which I guess is what you have to do if you're in that profession to get through the day, you have a special drink that you cooked up for us today, Mark.
Yep. Our signature drink is...
I'm looking forward to this, and I know you can't throw it into the Zoom window, but we'll do our best. So,
yep, it's It's a takeoff of the mint julep, which I'm not sure. Does that come from Kentucky, Jeff, or is it just a very popular Kentucky drink?
Absolutely. The Kentucky mint julep is drunk every first Saturday in May. For the Kentucky Derby, there'll be more ice crushed and mint crushed than in the entire year will be at the Kentucky Derby. And that's 2 weeks away.
Wow.
I'm going to a Kentucky Derby party in Connecticut on the Charlotte with the Shoreline Boat Club. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, we had done the mint juleps with some fresh mint 2 summers ago. Donna and I had some in the garden. I said, let's try it. It was really good. It's like the first one I'd ever had. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is an aviation twist on the mint julep. It's called the mint Spoolup. So
get that turbine spooling up. Let's go.
Spool it up. Here we go. All right, so I already have some crushed ice. Do I need to move the camera or not?
Oh, no, you look good.
You can see what I'm doing? All right. So you get the best Kentucky bourbon that you can get your hands on. This is Evan Williams. I don't know, Jeff. You may have to chastise me, but one good shot.
Hey, after the first drink, you don't know the difference anyways.
One good shot of Kentucky bourbon. It's actually very simple. You have to muddle the fresh peppermint, about a half a shot or to taste of simple syrup. And then I also read for the New Englanders, you can use maple syrup. You can get fresh maple syrup. Lemon.
That's
yeah, maple syrup instead of.
We have someone from Kentucky laughing about the idea of maple syrup.
Maple syrup with mint. Yeah, that's interesting.
I was going to try it, but I'm like, I don't even really like. I'm okay with maple syrup, but it's real fresh New England maple syrup. It's good, but it's so anyway. Go in, give it a quick shake, and there you go. You have a. Now it's not quite a mint Spoolup until you add some Mr. Boston's Blue Cacao. Put a little bit of that in there.
You have a nice blue-green.
Sky blue color.
Mm-hmm. I'll go nice with the green of the mint.
Yeah. So, need a little more ice. Actually, you need all the ice.
I was gonna say, I don't think you can do too much ice in a mint julep. Is that?
No.
Yeah.
Much as you can stuff in there.
Let me check it out. Yes. Wow.
Coffee.
Here's cheers to the mint julep.
Cheers.
Yeah. Oh, and then it says you're supposed to take the mint leaves and slap it between your hands, and it brings the scent out of the sprig of mint. So then when you stir it,
for your garnish, your
garnish you'll really pick it up.
Mm-hmm. I started growing mint on the side of my house just for mint juleps and mojitos, and it's taken over. It's like
I was going to tell you that. You got to be careful with stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think we're going to have to dig it all up and put it in pots where it will be contained, because we can't drink that much.
It grows like a weed.
It does. Right. It's very, very pervasive, which is great, and it smells wonderful when you walk through it. But
so you have a wonderful smelling house, I'll bet.
Mm-hmm.
surprised at how easy that is to actually make.
Yeah. Is it good?
It's, yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Does the curacao, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, I looked it up before we did this.
Well,
does that affect the flavor in any way, or does it still taste kind of mint julep-y?
No, it's still mint julep. It's great. It's very mild liqueur.
Oh, nice.
I would just put a tiny bit just to give it the blue color.
Mm-hmm.
We could call it the mint Spoolup.
Mint Spoolup. Nice. So Spoolup.
Do I have to explain the Spoolup thing, or?
Mm-hmm. I like that idea. We're kind of spooling up the economy after the whole COVID thing. So this is very
for aviation, Spoolup time on a jet engine is when you go to start a jet engine. You leave the throttles in cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
Then you hit the, you do all your stuff. You hit the start button, and there's what's called the Spoolup time,
mm-hmm.
which is on the Challengers. It was about 20% of N1, the band speed. When you get to the N1, 22% N1, then you bring the throttles up and back down to idle, and then everything just lights up.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, that's the reference for Spoolup.
That is cool. That's really a neat drink and a neat way of putting it together and bringing together all of the bits and pieces we talked about today.
Yep. Very good.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Jeff, for
my pleasure.
Being a good sport and telling us about your crazy younger days, and we all have them. Nice of you to share. And,
luckily, I've matured.
N1.
Oh, I haven't. I think the rule number one about growing up is never grow up, right?
Never grow up.
Yeah. Sorry, Mark, what was that?
I said I'm heading towards 21% N1.
Good for you. Well, it's the end of the day here as well, so we'll have to find. I'm not sure if I have all the ingredients for that, but I'm going to try that. That actually sounds really good.
As they say, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It is.
Yep.